Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're back on the regular scheduled program, man. Oh, shit. Long weekend, man. If y'all want to check out my weekend at DreamCon, let me know. Well, I ain't gonna let you know. Don't let me know. Vlog right here or at the end of the video. Check it out. Yeah. So, had a good time. But anyway, what's up? It's your boy Domuto. We back with another video. Today, we're watching Beyond Dragon Ball Super. Hakaishin Ultra Beerus versus Rino Rematch. Full Destructive Force Unleashed. Alright, by UnrealEntGaming. Shout out to him. Alright, and you know what about to happen. That boy Beerus about to whoop his ass. So make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and let
As our story now continues, following the initial events of Whis and Beerus being shown having to arrive within Universe 13, with Beerus having to execute his rematch clause against Rino, to which it was soon after Rino having to learn that Beerus was in fact granted permission by the Grand Priest and having to challenge him to a rematch, was when Rino then went on to respond, "Oh, you've got some nerve coming into my universe and demanding for a rematch against me, Beerus. And for you to have been given the approval directly by the Grand Minister and going through with your rematch makes me sick."
Damn.
But you and I both know on what's about to happen down there, and so don't act as though anything has changed, because it hasn't. Nothing has changed since then, for you are just as weak and pathetic as ever, as you and I both know that this rematch is going to end the same way as it did before.
Oh shit.
And just in case
And what
you've
you think,
forgotten on
Rino?
how this is going to end, it is going to end with you squirming for mercy while lying face down on the floor, just as you were shown doing when I smashed you into the dirt on your home world, Beerus.
Man, don't let that. I won't let him talk to you like that,
Powerless
Beerus.
against me then, and you will be powerless against me now. For your delusion of defeating me will only result with another embarrassing defeat in the end, Beerus. And so I will go and offer you one last chance to take your leave, or I am going to crush you. With Whis having to respond, "Well, I'll be sure to go and watch from up here just in case you need me, and so do and try to remember not to go and overdo it, Lord Beerus, or we wouldn't want to have to go and answer to the Grand Minister and the Omni Kings on why one of their destroyers is no longer around, and so do try and be mindful while out here against him, my lord." With Beerus responding, "I may be determined, but I'm not stupid, Whis, for I don't need to end his life in order to further prove my point against him, but I will on the other hand go and see to it that I punish him for a little while.
Wouldn't be a
since
bad
we're
thing,
already
though.
Here, and while you continue to talk so boldly and assuming that you already have me all figured out," Beerus went on to then continue, "then why don't you go and come on down here and see if you can back any of it up face to face," to which, as Rino was then shown having to do so, was when Beerus then went on to continue, "And while I plan on keeping this short and sweet, let's not go and waste either of our time here either and jump right into the action, since I'm limited on my time here." With Rino responding, "Oh, is that so? Well, I find it very odd that you would even dare and call for a rematch after having me wipe the floor with you as recently as I did. But tell me something, how are you any different now compared to how you were before?" Rino questions, "for you don't appear to have changed in any sort of noticeable way, and so what is this confidence based on? Because you and I both know that you are going to lose either way, and so now talk." With Beerus responding, "So you think that nothing has changed now, do you? Well, think again, because the loss that I had suffered by your hands was a turning point for me, for it had drove me into rediscovering my inner strength alone
That's what I'm
with
talking
my
about,
resolve
Beerus.
within the process, as I went and had spent every moment since then in training myself so that way I can ensure that I never face such humiliation ever again. For I am far stronger and much wiser and more determined now than I ever was before, and so if you truly expect for any of this to be as easy as you think that it will be, then I welcome you to come and try and find out, as I will show you as to why you are dead wrong in your assumptions." But then, it was only just upon with Rino being shown circling Beerus around, and from that point them being shown having to strike him with Beerus shown blocking, was when Rino then went on to respond, "Yeah, well, I'm not buying it, Beerus, and if there is anyone who should know on how you are firsthand, then look no further than me, and so I'm calling calling your
shit.
bluff here and now, Destroyer, with Beerus responding, you still aren't quite getting it now,
Not getting it, Rino.
Destroyer, but maybe your eyes will finally open once
water
this battle of ours continues. Big deal, you managed to block one strike, so just because you were lucky enough to do it, doesn't mean that you are fully in control of this contest, Beerus. And so because of that, don't go and get cocky again, or it just might cost you dearly, Beerus, with Beerus responding, but is it though? Is that really what you believe happened, Reno? Cause if you wish to go and try that one on me again, then maybe I could once again go as far as to prove you wrong twice, and further go on to show you as to why things have changed. To which, as Reno was then shown attempting to leg sweep Beerus, with Beerus shown leaping on up, was when Reno then went on to continue. Nonsense, for the only thing that you seem to have improved on is running that big loud mouth of yours, which is only going to make it that much more satisfying once I close it. And while you may have went and did whatever it was that you have done to try and claim the title as being the stronger god between us, Reno continues, if you truly think that I am unable to keep track of you throughout this battle of ours, then you must have already forgotten on just who exactly you are up against here, Reno went on to then
Oh shit, Beerus, come on now.
Because unlike the other destroyers, including those Saiyan mortals which you still continue to house within your pathetic universe, I am not an opponent which you can easily just bypass, Beerus. But since your brain doesn't appear to be working very well, then why don't I go ahead and remind you of just what exactly you are up against here, Destroyer. To which, in a brutal fashion, with Reno shown grabbing onto Beerus' throat before being shown slamming him repeatedly down on the floor, after being shown from that point throwing him up in the air, was when Reno then went on to continue. So let this painful realization be what opens your eyes to the truth here between us, as you will never be strong enough to best me, for your glory days are already long behind you, and since the days where you were once within your prime, you will never go back into being what you once were, and the answer as to why is a simple one, and that is because while you've continued to spend the remainder of your days since our erasure letting yourself go, we on the other hand, since returning, didn't cease in refining our powers. And so here's to your rematch clause being granted, for I warned you that this was going to end the same way as it did, and it will. Reno went on to then double axe handle Beerus down onto the ground.
Damn, Beerus, get up, get up.
Certainly didn't waste any time by having to jump right into trying to crush one another. Whis went on to then chime in by overseeing this battle down below. But while Lord Reno does appear to be the one who is in control here, and I don't think that it will continue to remain that way, especially once Lord Beerus decides to go and take this matter to a whole different level, but we'll see. There we are now. Serves you right for thinking that you even had a shot at besting me, Beerus. And so maybe now you will remember your place among the hierarchy of the gods and never challenge me like that again. Reno went on to then spit on the floor by walking away. Arrogance, little fool. Good riddance. And to think that he was actually starting to buy into his own delusion was just pitiful. Foolish destroyer. Well, so much for that. But then, it was only just then within that moment as Reno was beginning to walk away, as a sudden burst of energy was then shown having to emanate, was when Reno went on to then turn around by
shit, Reno, you done fucked up. Sorry, I'm getting tired, boy. I just edited that VOD.
Listen to his instincts, especially when he knows that he simply cannot win. And although his energy does in fact appear to feel a little different than how it was shown being before, I just absolutely hate having to waste my time on nonsense that is already beneath me. As you never seem to want to learn now, do you? Reno went on to then formulate a Hakai ball within his hand. But maybe this ought to be what reminds you of my status, for your desperation to prove yourself against me has only once again resulted in your humiliating defeat.
Yeah.
And now that you have exhausted your rematch clause here against me, let this be the last time that you ever come onto my world and disrespect me with such nonsense.
That beard pop out and show a
I
nigga.
thought that you could overcome me, and now look at where it's gotten you, as my power is far beyond your reach since letting yourself go. Rino, and your inability to accept the truth behind my supremacy over you has now resulted with this. And so know your place, Destroyer, and don't ever dare to come back into my universe and ever dream of trying to challenge me like this again. So while you're lucky that I don't use this moment to rip your life away since you don't deserve to hold a similar title that the rest of us do, consider this as being your final ever warning, and so now accept your fate just as you did when I had beaten you before, and stay down, Beerus. To which moments later, as a gigantic explosion was then shown having to take place with Rino assuming premature victory before being shown having to reunite with his angel Pinota, was when Rino then went on to continue there. And so now let this also be a lesson for anyone else who wishes to go and oppose me, because any one of those other gods of destruction can go and get it as Beerus had gotten, and so that should go and finally settle that between us. And actually, I hate to have to stop you here, my lord, Angel Pinota went on to then quickly interrupt, but I think that you ought to turn back around, for I do believe that you might want to reconsider leaving, as Lord Beerus's energy is starting to change, and I don't mean by having his energy be shown decreasing either, sire. With Rino being shown annoyed by responding.
Let's see it, boy. I can't see it again.
What are you talking about, Pinota? He isn't. Wait. Yes, I see, but why isn't his energy decreasing, but rather shown increasing after taking an attack like that head on the way he did? Unless he's pulling some kind of trick on me out here, but oh, what? Darn him. Rino continues upon now being shown having to oversee a gigantic aura burst in the sky, so the little worm still has some fight that's left within him now, does he? For I was too careless in not letting everything go down there against him, but all this is now showing me is that
now
I'll
you
just
fucked
have
up,
to
nigga.
hit him a lot harder than I did. To which it was only upon with Rino then shown having to quickly make his way
pop
back
out and show a nigga, Beerus.
back in attempts of striking Beerus was when Rino then went on to quickly respond. And so this ought to be what drops you for good, and this time if I break your face in the process, then so be it. Now say goodnight, Beerus. But then it was only just
Grab this
in
fifth.
that moment upon Rino being shown making contact and striking his way within Beerus's aura was when Beerus then went on to quickly respond. Now I'd go and slow your roll
man,
down
start
if
scratching.
I were you, Destroyer, for you know I find it
like
quite
a
ironic that you were expressing such
foot
confidence in
scratcher.
defeating me just a few moments ago, but it would only now appear as though that this same expression of confidence that you just had is no longer there, Beerus continues. So what happened, Rino? Surely I'm not watching you struggle to land a single solid strike on me now, am I?
Oh shit. Beerus, talk your shit, Beerus. I'm almost done, guys. Hold on.
Battle, that I wasn't going to allow for my loss against you earlier to be what transpires like how it was shown being on my planet again. And now that you are starting to slowly see as to exactly what it was that I had meant when I had told you, maybe now slowly through this you will only start to understand. And if you still believe that I am going to have you try and walk all over me like how you were shown doing before, Beerus continues, then you can guess again, Rino. Beerus went on to then finally reveal his new Ultra Destroyer form before Rino. For the difference between our power now should be painfully staggering, as you will never be able to reach me now that I am at the absolute height of where it is that I want it to be, Destroyer. As I am not only at the apex of power within my own world, but I am now at the apex as being the strongest god of destruction among you all. What? A new transformation? But that's impossible. What have you done?
I think there's some vigorous training.
For I've never seen you wield anything like this before. And so how are you able to go and acquire such a power like this? Rino nervously questions. For this is unlike anything that I've ever encountered among the other gods of destruction. And so now explain yourself. For I want to know on what the source of this power you now possess is, and so tell me as to what you did. But it was only just then upon having to see Ultra Destroyer Beerus not only go as far as to respond to Rino, but also be shown striking Rino multiple times before Rino could even react, was when Beerus then went on to
my foot was scratching like a
respond.
motherfucker.
It wasn't what I had went and did
You
that
like a
allowed
motherfucker.
for me to go and reach this
Put some
point,
lotion on
but
that
it was
bit.
rather you who was the one that was responsible for pushing me into obtaining such strength, Destroyer. But it doesn't just end here with you, Reno, for the others had a hand in this just as much as you have, and so because of this loss and because I was so badly humiliated before the other gods of destruction and mocked for my efforts while at the forefront of your mercy, what you are shown having to experience right now within this moment is all because of you, Beerus continues. And now that your eyes have finally been opened to the truth, you should go and come to terms with the outcome here between us, because no matter how many times you try, you will not be able to defeat me, and you know it, Beerus went on to continue upon Reno being shown falling on down. For what you see standing before you is a level of power that goes far beyond my previously known ability to be within my prime, for this here is now my absolute peak, and it's all thanks to you. And by integrating my Ultra Instinct experiences with my innate destructive abilities, Beerus went on, I've went and managed to unlock a new tier of power, as my vision is now far more clear, my moves being far more precise, and my strategies in battle being far more impeccable, for I almost feel sorry for you, Reno, as you should have known better than to try to provoke me into actually going as far as to try, but now that you can see that you are completely outclassed, there is no longer a need for this battle to continue, Beerus says.
But I don't understand. So how did you manage to go and pull this off when you were nowhere near the level of power in which you wield before me right now?
Reno questions.
As I refuse to have this be with how I will go down, and so this shouldn't have been possible. For you and I both know that I am the stronger destroyer between us, and so how did you manage to go and improve this much? Tell me.
With Beerus responding, well, it's obvious, isn't it? Just go and take a look at where you are now, defeated and left broken and struggling to simply stand back up, let alone having to fight back. For you
fight back, nigga. Fight back.
Upon yourself, Beerus continues, as this was the price that you had to ultimately pay for your overwhelming arrogance. However, God of Destruction, I will now hereby go and offer you something in which you yourself had refused to offer me, and that is one final chance to admit your defeat and simply walk away, Beerus says. So you will either acknowledge my superiority or face the consequences of your arrogance. For you should be very grateful that I am showing you mercy, but the choice will be on you to make. And so now relinquish whatever thought that you may have had in claiming to be the stronger destroyer between us and walk away with whatever dignity that you have left, because if you choose to refuse and wish to continue this battle here against me, then I am going to eviscerate you, and so go and choose wisely, for I will not be so gracious as to go and offer you this chance again, Beerus continues, as you and I both know that you cannot possibly plan to keep this struggle up against me for too long, and so now this is going to be your one and only chance to uphold whatever honor it is that you have left and simply walk away, God of Destruction.
No, this cannot be the way our story ends,
Reno went on to then stand back up by responding.
And so don't think for 1 second that this changes anything between us in this battle, Beerus. Because so as long as I am still standing across from you, this fight is far from over. For I will continue to stand and fight you until the power dynamic between us is once again shifted back within my favor. And so don't think that this changes anything between us, Beerus.
Reno then went on to quickly power up.
For this so-called new power of yours is nothing but a temporary anomaly, and so while you assume a premature victory against me, just know that I will not allow you to prevail.
As Beerus went on to then turn back by responding, is that so, Destroyer? Well then so be it, but I warn you ahead of time that while you may assume for my power to be nothing more than a fluke, I'll ensure to go and remind you as to why it is not, for the humiliation that you've caused me back on my homeworld will now be repaid with your agony, as it was only right then and there now during that moment where the Beyond Dragon Ball Super Story of the Resurrected Fallen Gods of Destruction, the Universe 18 Saga Manga Chapter number 2 Special battle then comes to a close.
Well, actually, I'll go ahead and take it from here, as I do want to go as far as to address something very important with our dear viewers at the moment. As before I go and give you the following information, if you aren't already a member of Unreal's Patreon community, then you are truly missing.
That was a crazy video, man. Shout out to Unreal for this video. I know I fell asleep through the most of it, but make sure y'all check out the last chapter right here, the chapter right here. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.